just a little recap. Box is all out now and I've actually got it apart. So yeah, I've got the Bellhousing off, all cleaned up. Gearbox looks fine, but it's always been noisy in the front, so there's an input bearing behind here, so I'm going to try to do that, hence why the Bellhousing's off, because it actually houses the bearing. So I'm going to try and find a replacement for that and press that on, so it's just got a good front bearing again, and then clean it up and put it back together. Probably a new seal in the snout and then a rear seal too, probably. Took the starter motor out just to give that a clean up, and just check the brushes while it's out, because with the night parts adapter that I've got, you can't actually get the starter motor out without taking the box off, so it's one of those things that's sort of preventative, so just check that over anyway just to make sure it's all happy days. Yeah, and then just degreased a bit underneath, so it should all be a bit clean. Probably do a rear main seal while I'm at it, since it's apart. It's probably worth doing. Not expensive, so it's easy enough to do. But yeah, apart from that, it's just waiting now. Need to sort out the clutch, so need to decide what I'm going to do. Can't use that, it's naffed, so need to find something else. So still on the process of finding that and finding other parts. So the gearbox rebuild, I suppose, or freshen up begins. So I now got some seals from Toyota. So there's a snout, the front of the gearbox. There's a seal that sits in the front of there. So I've gone and bought a new one of them. So I've replaced that, and then I've got the rear seal for the box as well. The annoying part is the input bearing from Toyota. It's cheap enough to buy, it's like 40 something bucks. But it's in Japan still, so it's sort of 2-3 weeks away. So I've just been to another bearing place in there looking up if they can get them, and if they can get them sooner, because I don't really want to wait that long. I should have my clutch by next week, so in theory then I can put it all back together. So yeah, once I can get the bearing, then I can actually press the old one off and press a new one on and put the thing all back together. It's a good trick to get the seal in nicely and nice and square. It's actually to use the old seal as a pusher, I suppose, or as a flat surface to put it in. And then with that as well, you get a socket that's around about the right size. But then you can use that to push it in as well. Yeah, so it's like ideal, right on the edge of it. It's also cool, they come like pre-greased, so basically just whack it in and be done with it. So I got the input shaft off, so I pulled the bearing that was on here off the shaft. You had to actually grab on the back of the gear here to pull it off. But once that is off, then you can actually take the whole input shaft off. And that way then you can get to that bearing, so then I'll take this and get it pressed off properly. Get a new one pressed on, so found a place that can do both bearings. So they're ordered in, and I should have them on Monday. So yeah, it's quite a cool setup actually if you don't really know about gearboxes and things. So this shaft, input shaft, you think, oh yeah, that's like part of the whole front of the gearbox, but it's actually just a small shaft that has a needle roller bearing in it. So that then butts onto the main shaft. You first synchro there, and that meshes with that. But see, actually, yeah, there's actually two bearings. There's this bearing, and then there's the main big bearing as well. But I opted to just leave this bearing. It wasn't that cheap to buy that. It's cheaper just to do the other ones. that one should be alright. Gets enough oil and stuff around it. But yeah, it's quite a cool thing really. But yeah, so once I get those, hopefully Monday I can pick them up in the morning and then get that one pressed on and then piece it all back together. Yeah, I did end up, as you can see, it's quite shiny, sheening that down a bit. So I'd already done that when I had put the gearbox first in the car, but I noticed there's a little bit of rubbing again still in the Bellhousing, so I've just whipped over with a flap disc, just machined a bit off. It's quite a fat thing, so it's not weakening it or anything, it's just allowing a bit more room instead of having to smash the tunnel. So yeah, next video, hopefully we'll be putting this back together and getting my clutch, which hopefully will turn up next week as well, and then should be able to slap it all back together.